This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Hello viewers, you're watching Pulse of Africa. I'm Jalani Tasfaye for the main news. First, our top stories for today. Muslims around the world celebrate Eid al-Fitr. Africa's £15 billion mining push to unlock vast metal deposits. Uganda signs oil refinery deal with UAE investment firm. UNSC condemns attack against UN peacekeepers. Now, the news in detail. The United Nations Security Council on Sunday condemned the attack against UN peacekeepers in the Central African Republic, which left one Kenyan peacekeeper dead. The UN Multidimensional Integrated Stabilization Mission in the Central African Republic stated that peacekeepers were attacked by an identified armed group during a long-range patrol in Tabani village, Haut Mubonu Prefecture on Friday morning. The Security Council expressed their deepest condolences and sympathies to the victims' families, as well as to Kenya and the United Nations. The Council reiterated that attacks against peacekeepers may constitute war crimes and reminded all parties of their obligations under international humanitarian law. Now to Guinea. A massive £15 billion mining project in Guinea is set to tap into what is believed to be the world's largest untapped iron ore deposit. The Simondu site, located in the south of the country, contains an estimated 2.8 billion tons of high-grade iron ore. The project has been delayed for several years due to political upheaval, disputes over licenses, and problems with infrastructure, but it's all reportedly about to change. Guinea's ruling junta said that the production is expected to begin later this year. Mining already accounts for around 90% of Guinea's exports, and officials say this project could transform the country's future. Moving on to Niger. Niger withdrew from joint military forces formed by countries bordering Lake Chad to fight terrorist groups. The move aims to free up forces to reinforce oil installations at home, which has been targets of terrorist attacks. The Multinational Joint Task Force was established in 1994 and has been reactivated in 2015 to counter Boko Haram and other security threats in the Lake Chad Basin region. The group includes soldiers from Benin, Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria. It operates under the mandate to create a safe and secure environment, reduce violence against civilians, and facilitate humanitarian operations. Shifting to Rwanda. Schools in remote areas of Rwanda have welcomed the government's initiative to deploy solar power, aiming to connect nearly 1,000 schools by the end of 2025. The effort is part of a new energy policy introduced in February. Siamburara Primary School, located in the remote Buhabwa village, had operated without electricity since its founding in 2003. The lack of power hindered teaching and learning, forcing teachers to travel 35 kilometers to print exam papers and essential documents. Rwanda aims to achieve 95% electricity access in schools by 2029, up from the current 80.7%. The government's education sector strategic plan emphasizes ICT integration, targeting an increase in schools using digital learning from 41.9% to 65%. In other news, Muslims around the world have celebrated Eid al-Fitr, the festival marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan, with prayer, reunions with family, and cultural customs. As the crescent moon of Shawwal al-Mukarram heralds the end of Ramadan, Muslims around the world celebrate Eid al-Fitr, the joyous festival of breaking the fast. While the essence of Eid, gratitude, charity, and community remains universal, traditions vary richly across cultures. From the Middle East to North Africa, East Africa, Southeast Asia to Europe, Eid al-Fitr is a celebration of faith, family, and community. Eid al-Fitr 2025 stands as a testament to the global Muslim community's shared faith and commitment to the principles of charity, unity, and celebration. Moving on to our next story. ASEAN urges Myanmar stakeholders to facilitate relief efforts. ASEAN foreign ministers expressed condolences to Myanmar and Thailand after the 7.7 magnitude earthquake on Friday. In a special emergency meeting, they committed to boosting relief and recovery efforts using ASEAN standby arrangements and member state contributions. The ASEAN Coordinating Center for Humanitarian Assistance is deploying an emergency response and assessment team for field operations. Relief items are also being mobilized through the Disaster Emergency Logistics Systems for ASEAN. International aid continues as recovery efforts intensify.
The story of resurgent Ethiopia and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel, all the time. Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Turning to business news. Uganda signed an oil refinery agreement with UAE-based Alpha MPM Investments in crude oil refinery in Kabale Hoima district. It was signed in the presence of President Yoweri Museveni at State House in Entebbe, pointing to Uganda's commitment to industrialization and value addition to its natural resources. The project, which will see the construction of a crude oil refinery in Hoima district, is said to have a capacity of 60,000 barrels per day. President Museveni hailed the agreement as a game changer for Uganda's energy sector and broader economic landscape. This oil refinery is not just about fuel, but also about Uganda producing and exporting refined products instead of importing them, President Museveni stated. Finally, U.S. President Donald Trump warned on Sunday that he would impose secondary tariff of 25 to 50% on countries purchasing Russian oil if Moscow blocks efforts to end the Ukraine conflict. Trump expressed frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin, particularly after Putin's criticism of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Trump, who has been attempting to broker a ceasefire since taking office in January, said he could impose the new tariffs within a month and would speak to Putin within this week. There was no immediate response from Moscow. Before concluding, let us provide you with the latest updates on global commodities prices. Now to weather updates. That is all for today, and thank you for watching Pulse of Africa.
This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.